emails from women saying they date and the guys saying that they're dating the same person over and over and over again, and they can't seem to get rid of this toxic pattern. And I always say, do you ever notice that you date the same man or same woman, different face, and you're like, gosh, it seems so much like the last relationship. Why is this the same exact person? Well, there's a woman, I can't take her quote because I didn't make it up. Her name is Tiffany Buckner, and she said, most people now understand the term narcissism, right? This kind of a new term that people are using.
So they think they understand it.
Yeah, well, for the most part, they do, right? Like, people aren't stupid. So when they gather together, this is what this is. It is actually very spiritual for Leviathan, which is the king of pride, and Jezebel, which is control and manipulation. So when you talk about narcissism and you really look at that personality disorder, it really is very synonymous with Leviathan, who's the king of pride, very stiff-necked, very all of those bad things, and then Jezebel, who's manipulation and control. With that being said, most people find themselves in relationships back to back to back to back to back with somebody with that kind of spirit. Very mean, very controlling, right at the edge of what you think is breakthrough. Something happens, they break up with you. They're all of these bad things. And she said, it's a woman named Tiffany Buckner, she said, if you ever want to stop dating a narcissist, she said, kill idolatry. Your reward for idolatry is the narcissistic man or woman you're dating right now. That's your reward for it.
Wow.
The person you married, if you're like, Tiffany, my husband or my wife is narcissist, that was your reward for your idolatry, right? So then you're asking yourself, how did I get here? It's because, what is idolatry? Idolatry is anything that you love more than you obey God. Very simple.
Oh, so that you could be idolizing sex.
Everything can be idolized.
It could be a lot of things. Wow.
Oh my
Everything.
goodness.
Wow. Okay.
The thing about idolatry is everything can be idolized. Your job, money, relationships, marriage, children, desire for children,
Food,
yourself, food,
marriage.
social media can be an idol. Anything that you love more than you obey God can become an idol. Anything, even yourself, right? And so the goal is to always be identifying idolatry. What is the point of idolatry? It brings false comfort, which now replaces the comforter, who is the Holy Spirit. Idolatry brings signs, miracles, and wonders because most of the time it's empowered by a demon, right? Idolatry really wants the least of you. So God, who is a jealous God and only wants you to serve him, requires too much for you. He requires fidelity. He requires faithfulness. He requires honor. He requires submission. He requires fear and reverence. And he requires just you and him. Well, when you go to the Hindu religion, it's like thousands of gods. They're like, we have an open marriage. You can have sex with all of us. You can be intimate with all of us. You can make love to all of us. We don't mind. Just keep it in the family. You see what I'm saying? And so here, you now can serve this idol because this idol or this God that you're worshiping doesn't require reverence, respect, faithfulness, honesty, all of that. You can just be out here. And so you have these people who say, I want this man, I want this woman, but then you somehow start to worship that person. Adam and Eve, I saw a quote that said Adam and Eve switched out their promise for sin. Like they sinned to get the promise. And that's what many people do. You start having sex with somebody to get the promise, right? You start doing these things with somebody to get the promise because you think that this is what's going to make this man marry you when he's for the streets. We are failing an open book test. You giving a man some pussy ain't going to make him marry you.
Why you don't got to whisper? It's hardly initiated. You don't got to whisper. Yeah, that's true though.
He's not going to make him marry you. It's not. Never in the history of men and women is going to make a man marry you when you give him some pussy. It's just not going to happen. And don't y'all send me no email about saying the word pussy because it ain't no bad word.
Wow.
Damn.
All is forgiven on hardly initiated.
So anyway,
I really got to work this sound machine because Tiffany going so crazy. I'm about to put two hands on it.
It's a truth, but you sin.
Covered, yo.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, but you sin to get the promise. That's what made that person an idol, right? And
Yeah.
so an idol is only good for one thing: disappointment. That's it.
Oh my God, that's such a.
Now
good
give me
way to
30
put
seconds. I'm
that.
gonna break this down. It's gonna blow y'all away.
Oh my God.
The word. Okay, you feel distracted sometimes?
Yes.
Okay, good. What does traction mean?
To get momentum, to get movement.
No, traction.
Traction.
Like, okay, I know what you're
Grip.
talking about. Grip.
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 Okay.
It's grip.
Your
Yes.
your traction. Well, I looked up the word dis. Dis was created from a Roman god that was called to separate you from that thing. Back in the medieval times, the French had something called death by distraction. They would put a horse on both your limbs, a horse on both your legs, and they would beat the horse, and it would distract your limbs from your body. It was called death by distraction.
Wow.
So essentially, whenever you say you feel distracted, what's happening is there's a spirit that is literally dismembering what you're supposed to be working on, right? What you're supposed to be hyper focused on, and it's death by distraction. So whatever you're supposed to be working on is died. You with me?
Yes.
So the word dis means separate from. So if you look at the word disappointment, it sounds like an emotional term. But when you look up the word appointment by itself, it means an arrangement, a meeting, an engagement. It means like this time that you're supposed to do something. So now you have the word dis that's called to separate you from a meeting you were supposed to have. So if you have an idol in your life and is there to disappoint you because you're spending time with the wrong man or woman, you have now separated yourself from the meeting of the man or woman you were supposed to marry.
Oh my God.
Damn.
So good.
This is
when you have that revelation,
Right.
that you're not just disappointed. That person, when you make them an idol, the only thing they can ever do is disappoint you. It's the nature of the idol. That's the only thing it can ever give you. Now that we have a revelation of the word disappointment, now we know that idol is going to always keep you away from the appointment with your real husband or wife.
Oh my God.
Now to answer your question about soul ties. We know your soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions. And if you didn't know, that's what it is. That's why I say your soul or your mind, your will, or your emotions is tied to somebody or something.
Is it or? Is or and?
Or.
Mind.
Will, and emotions.
Okay.
All three of those are the soul.
That's
the
your
mind,
soul.
the will, and emotions.
That's it.
Wow. Okay,
So
that
when
makes sense.
So look at it this way. These are two people, they're super glued together when you have sex. Now, you don't always have to have sex to somebody to have a soul tie because it's your mind, your will, and your emotions. But a sexual soul tie is obviously one of the strongest.
Yeah.
So let's say these two people